So our plan for today is to put the dinghy together to try and take it out, inflate it. We didn't do it yesterday before leaving the dock because we wanted to get out, watch the sunset, and hang out, as opposed to put a dinghy together. So we're gonna see if we can inflate the dinghy on board, if there's space, and if there's not, we'll let you know that it doesn't work too. So wish us luck, and we'll see if we can get the Taka Cat together on board. The dinghy stowed away in the lazarette until we inflate her in a little bit. So we haven't put the dinghy together, had it inflated on board. We did do it in the driveway. And one thing we do like about it is it comes in 2 bags. So we got the 2 bags of dinghy. We had 2 places to try and put it together, assemble it on the bow or up on the roof rack. It actually looks a little easier to do on the roof rack. So we're gonna see if we can put it all together, well, up on the roof rack. So when we folded it up, it rolls up nice. We fold the bow third and the stern third. So when we inflate it, I want the stern towards the bow of the Sweetest Thing so that I can reach the inflator easier, and our superstructure of the roof's a little more load bearing up here.
This took a lot of maneuvering while I sat back and watched. Dave got the dinghy up on the roof, organized it to lay it out perfectly behind the light, stretched it all out, and now we're going to try to inflate it to see if it'll fit up here and we can carry it here while we go find a beach to explore.
12-volt inflator that's hooked up inside and have easy access to the valves here with the stern of the dinghy towards the bow of Sweetest Thing. All right, so we successfully inflated the port bladder. We're going to do the starboard and see if we can get everything else in place. But this is definitely the space to do it on board Sweetest Thing. This is a 9-foot, 10-inch dinghy that allows us to take 4 people on it. We knew it would store here, but we weren't sure if we'd be able to inflate on the water. So it looks like, so far, we can. So we have both sides inflated. You got to put on the 2 transom bars and inflate the center panel. But so far, still looking good. So we needed all 4 of our hands to get this together. So the first spreader bar goes forward. It pushes in. In the instructions, it says to use soap and water if it doesn't go. I was able to get it in without any problems. And then the second spreader bar is pulled towards the aft. Then there's 2 wooden plates that go together, and we bolted them in place. Again, I couldn't show you here because we needed all our hands to do it. But this is really mostly in place. Now we just need to inflate the floor panel, and we'll be good to try and get her out on the water. In terms of assembly, putting the floor panel in is probably the most awkward part of this whole process so far. So we've moved the Taka Cat to the side while we're putting in the floor so I can connect the D-ring. I didn't want to be up on top of my solar panels, so we've rotated the boat. Again, part of the reason we got this dinghy is it's 66 pounds, so it's actually pretty light to move and keep up on the roof here. So we've moved it so I can access one of the connections for the bow to hold that in place. So we've connected the D-ring that holds the floor pad in place. This, when we inflate it, should hopefully keep everything solid, but wanted to get this connected, which is why we angled the dinghy on its side. So this is a inflated Taka Cat on the top of a Jeanneau NC1095. Needs to be rearranged a little once we get her in the water, but was able to have the space to inflate on our roof rack. So I'm glad that we got the roof rack, and now we're going to take her out and see how she runs. Well, we're out at Cumberland Seashore. We've got the Taka Cat inflated, put together on top. Now we got to figure out how we're going to get it in the water. It's our first time doing it, so we'll film it in case one of us falls in. In hindsight, we should have worn life jackets during this, and there's a much easier way. when you lift the dinghy off the roof rack, put on the rail, and straight into the water from there. No need to struggle back to the stern. When coming back on board, lift to the rail and onto the roof rack. Before we put the motor on, we're going to put the oars on, then we'll put the e-propulsion outboard on. We've got the Spirit engine now. We had to do a little extra inflation on the Taka Cat when we put it in the water. It wasn't quite fully inflated, so we need to do that better next time. And then we walked out on the floor, the inflatable floor. Now we're going to mount up the outboard and go for a little ride. So the power on, make sure it's fully connected. It's a magnetic kill switch. Forward and reverse work. Let's take it for a little spin. First impression, we're really impressed with the Taka Cat 300LX. It's easy for Alicia and I to maneuver, light enough at 64 pounds, 29 kilos. We can assemble on the roof rack, the sweetest thing. It's easy to get into the water just straight down the side rather than taking to the aft was our big lesson. The e-propulsion engine, the Spirit One, enough power to get around. Really enjoy the boat. Look forward to figuring out the range in the future.